Dr. Robert John Ouko's life and legacy remain inseparable from the cloud of controversy that surrounded his final days. A web of political intrigue, alleged corruption, and an unresolved murder that still haunts Kenya's history. In the months leading up to his death in February 1990, Ouko, then serving as Kenya's Minister for Foreign Affairs, found himself entangled in several high-stakes disputes. One of the most persistent centered on the proposed revival of the Kisumu molasses plant. Allegations emerged that powerful figures within government circles were demanding kickbacks to approve the project. Investigators, including Scotland Yard's John Troon, later suggested that Ouko may have been compiling a dossier detailing high-level corruption linked to the deal, information he allegedly intended to present to President Daniel Arap Moi. Whether this claim was factual or speculative, it added a dangerous dimension to his already delicate political position. Another controversy erupted following a January 1990 trip to Washington, D.C., where Ouko accompanied President Moi. Rumors spread that Ouko had received special attention from U.S. President George H.W. Bush, allegedly sidelining Moi. Though later dismissed as exaggerated or false, these claims fueled speculation of tension within the Kenyan leadership. Stories circulated of a confrontation involving senior officials, further intensifying the narrative of a fractured inner circle. Closer to home, Ouko was reportedly investigating corruption within the Kisumu Town Council, including a multi-million-shilling housing and loan scandal. At the same time, his 1988 parliamentary re-election campaign for Kisumu Town had been fiercely contested, marked by threats and political hostility. These overlapping conflicts painted a picture of a man operating in increasingly turbulent waters. Then came the most disturbing chapter, the aftermath of his death. His charred body was discovered at the foot of Gat Alila Hill near his Koru home. The government's initial claim that he had committed suicide, shooting himself before setting his own body on fire, was widely dismissed as implausible. Forensic evidence later confirmed he had been shot at close range, his body burned post-mortem, and his leg broken prior to death. Even the pathologist who supported the suicide theory later recanted, admitting it had been fabricated. The investigation itself became mired in mystery. A string of unexplained deaths among key witnesses, over a dozen individuals connected to the case, led to whispers of an Ouko curse. Among them were close associates and potential informants. Meanwhile, Hezekiah Oyugi, a senior government official and suspect, died suddenly while under investigation. Conflicting reports emerged over where Ouko was actually killed, with some later claims suggesting he may have been murdered at a government residence before his body was transported and burned elsewhere. Despite numerous commissions of inquiry and international involvement, the truth behind Ouko's murder remains elusive. His death stands as one of Kenya's most enduring political mysteries. Yet, beyond the controversies, Robert Ouko's life was one of remarkable achievement. Born on March 31, 1931, in Yahera, Kisumu District, he rose from humble beginnings as the son of Erastus and Susan Seda. He began his career as a primary school teacher after training at Siriba Teachers Training College, demonstrating early discipline and a commitment to public service. Driven by ambition and intellect, Ouko pursued higher education across East Africa. He studied at Haile Selassie University in Ethiopia, graduating in 1962 with a degree in public administration, economics, and political science. He later earned a diploma in international relations and diplomacy from Makerere University in Uganda, equipping him for the global stage he would soon enter. His career in public service began during the colonial era as a revenue officer in Kisii. After Kenya's independence in 1963, he quickly rose through the ranks of the civil service, serving as assistant secretary in the governor's office and later as permanent secretary in the Ministry of Works. His administrative competence and diplomatic skill earned him regional prominence, including a role with the East African Community, where he served until its collapse in 1977. Ouko transitioned into elective politics shortly thereafter, becoming a nominated member of parliament before winning the Kisumu rural seat in 1979. He later represented Kisumu town. Over the years, he held several key ministerial positions, including economic planning, labor, tourism and wildlife, and most notably, foreign affairs, where he served 2 terms and built a reputation as one of Kenya's finest diplomats. Internationally, he represented Kenya with distinction, serving as the country's permanent representative to the United Nations and attending major global forums such as the Commonwealth and the Organization of African Unity. His eloquence, intellect, and professionalism earned him widespread respect both at home and abroad. In his personal life, Ouko was married to Christabel Ouko, whom he wed in 1966. Together, they had 7 children. However, his private life was not without complexity. Investigations later revealed a long-term relationship with another woman with whom he had a child. Family tensions, including disputes with his brothers, added another layer of strain during his final years. At the time of his death, Ouko had amassed a modest but significant estate valued at approximately Kenya shillings 10.2 million. His assets included land in Kisumu, Nairobi, and Mombasa, shares in major companies, and various business interests. In his will, he left everything to his wife, with instructions that it be passed on to their children. Dr. Robert Ouko's story is ultimately one of brilliance shadowed by mystery. He was a man who rose from rural beginnings to the heights of international diplomacy, only to meet a violent and unresolved end. Decades later, his murder remains unsolved, his legacy a blend of admiration, speculation, and unanswered questions that continue to echo through Kenya's political history.